Hello, I'm Carl at Trident Fly Fishing. Today we're going to tie a fly called the Haymaker. This fly was designed by Charlie Craven, and the first time I think I saw the recipe was in a 2016 issue of Fly Fisherman magazine. It's got a lot of the same characteristics as a woolly booger. In fact, that's how I fish it. And we'll get into the tie. So the hook we're using today is a TMC 5262. That's a 2 extra long, 2 extra heavy streamer type hook. We've got a gold bead on the hook. It's a hairline plummeting bead in tungsten, and it's 5/32 in size, and the color is gold. The thread we're using today is uni thread and 8/0 black, and we're going to start this tie by adding a little more weight to the fly. This is 20 thousandths lead, and at about mid-body, we'll start making thread wraps forward to the bead. We get up to the bead, we're going to break that off with our fingers. Fold that in behind the bead like so. There. Our thread we're going to tie in right behind that lead, and we're going to form a thread dam there to keep that lead up against the bead. Oops. Once we've got the dam partially formed, we're going to go up over that lead, make some cross wraps back and forth to anchor that all in place. And we'll run our thread back to the bend of the hook right over the hook barb and gouge where we're going to tie in our first material. The tail for this fly is going to be some hairline woolly booger marabou. See if we can find a nice plume here. All these plumes are not created equal. That looks like a nice one. We'll strip off some of the stuff we know we're not going to use. If you wet the material just a little bit, it makes it a lot easier to control. We want this tail to be a hook length in size, so we'll measure that out. I'm going to tie that in right on top of the hook. Take 3 or 4 turns. Sure we're stayed up on top there. That looks pretty good. And what I like to do is go in front, oops, caught the point, wrap forward to the bead, bring my material up over the shank of the hook, take a few thread wraps to hold it in place, then spin up the material to gather it. Cut it off as close as I can. And we're going to wrap our thread back to the tail. And we'll stop right about the hook point where we're going to tie in the first of our rubber legs. These are medium round black rubber legs. They come in a big strip. Just peel off one, maybe about 3 inches worth. We're going to tie that in more towards the top of the hook, but along the side, all the way back to the base of the tail. I want to come back forward and pull the rubber leg on the other side back, do the same thing. There. Back to the base of the tail, and we're going to tie in the body material. That is going to be some Speckled Chenille in gold black. Prepare that to tie in. We're going to pull off just a little bit of that material at the tip here, to expose the core. That gives us a nice clean tie-in point. There we go. And we'll just kind of set that aside. And we're going to tie in our second rubber leg. So again, grab that single strand, cut off about a 3-inch piece. I'm going to tie this on the top of the hook shank. And the easiest way I've found to do that is just capture it with one wrap, and then you can pick up the 2 legs, and as you can see, you can move this around to any place you want it. And I want this right where we stopped our lead. Got away from me. Try that again. There we go. And we're just going to make some X wraps to keep that up on top. Run our thread forward and put in our last set of legs about maybe 3 eye lengths behind the bead. So once again, snip off a 3-inch piece of rubber. Make some X wraps to hold it in place. Bring your thread forward to the bead. Now we're going to wrap the body. So to start this wrap, you want to make sure you get a hold of your tail material when you make your first wrap. As you go around, like so that the tail doesn't twist up on you. Once you've done that, then you can just continue to move forward. As you reach the first set of legs, you're going to sweep those behind you, trying to keep the legs up towards the top of the hook, like so. Once we reach the bead, we're going to capture that with 3 or 4 turns of thread. Snip the material off as close as we can to the bead. A few more wraps. Make sure it's well secured. Okay, the last material we're going to tie in is going to be the collar. That's going to be a hairline saddle, hen saddle in black. And we want these fibers to be about a half a hook shank in length. So pull off a couple of suitable feathers. I'm going to lay them against each other just as they came off of the saddle so the shiny sides are up. Strip off all the fuzzies. I'm not going to have to go too far with this. It's only a couple of turns. Bring your fibers back after you've got a hold of the tip. Form your tie-in point like so. Your scissors. Snip that off so you got about 1.5 mils to tie in. A little bit of wax on the thread to improve our grip. I'm going to tie that in right behind the bead, like so. Pull that little piece back, tie that in. There. Grab our hackle pliers. Get a hold of both of these feathers, like so. I'm going to preen the material back. We're going to make 2 turns around the hook shank, keeping the material preened back towards the tail. One, and just barely enough material, huh? Perfect. Tie that off. Snip off our excess material. Oh, preen that feather back. Make some turns just behind the bead to neaten the collar up. Take our whip finish tool. Make a 4 or 5 turn whip finish. I'm going to keep those hackle feathers back behind there. They don't seem to be cooperating. There. Snip our thread. Got a couple that escaped there, didn't we? There. Little head cement. There we go. So we want to trim the legs about, a hook shank in length. Don't pull them down too hard. Just pull them down softly and snip them all off. They'll all come off even. The tail we want to be just about the same length of the tail. So there we go. So that's the completed Haymaker fly. Feel free to leave comments, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date on all the videos here at Trident Fly Fishing. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again.